Alright, in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to use the entity framework in the WPF application. So here in Visual Studio, I have created a very simple solution that you can download in the supplementary materials of this lecture. Let me run this application, show you what the application does, and then I will show you the code. Alright, in this application, in the main window, we have a data grid where we display the courses in the database. I also added a button here to add a new course. So when I click this, you're going to see a new course at the end of the data grid. There you go. If I click it again, another course and more. All right. Now let's take a look at the source code. To make this happen, I had to make a small change to our domain classes. So let's go to the course class. Here, the type of the tags property was iCollection. I had to change it to observable collection. I also had to change hash set here to observable collection. The reason for that is in WPF, because our objects are in memory, we need to make navigation properties that are collection observable. So as we add new objects to them, WPF will be notified. And this way we can reflect the changes on the user interface. So a very small change. Also in the app config, I changed the name of the database. So here under connection strings, I changed the database name to Pluto_WPF because I wanted to separate this from the databases from previous sections. So when you download this source code, the first thing you should do is to go to Package Manager console and run update database. Then the migration in the project will create all the tables and initialize them with the seed data. Next, let me show you how to display courses in the data grid. So with the main window open, I went to Project, Add New Data Source, and here I selected Object. And in this section, I expanded Pluto Desktop, which is the name of the project. Under plutodesktop.core.domain, you can see our domain classes. Now, because this window is for displaying courses, I simply tick the course class here. In your application, you might be displaying courses and authors or courses and tags all together. Then you will tick multiple items here. Next, when you click Finish, in the data sources window, you're going to see core.domain, and there you will see the course class. If you don't see this window, simply go to View, Other Windows, and Data Sources. Now, when you drag a class like course into the form, WPF will create a data grid and initialize it based on the properties in that class. So in this case, initially I had all properties of the course class, but I decided to remove some of them to make this form a bit cleaner. I also reordered them. So I went to this XAML view, and here under data grid, under columns, I got rid of the unnecessary columns and reordered the existing ones the way I want it. Now let me show you how to bind this data grid to the courses in our database. So in the main window, first we need to create an instance of our context. Then in window_loaded method, which is automatically generated at the time you drag and drop the course class onto your window, I added these extra lines here. So context.courses.include author, so I'm eager loading them. And then I call the load method to load them into the context. Next, this course view source, which is again automatically generated by WPF, and is the data source behind our data grid, has a property called source that we can set to context.courses, and here we need to call the local property. The reason for that is because this courses is a DB set, and it's essentially a queryable object. and we cannot bind queryable objects to a data grid. So we need to access the local property, which essentially returns the course objects in that DB set. Now, the important part here is you need to override the onClosing method to dispose the context. So when the user closes this window, we need to dispose this context. Because this context has unmanaged resources, we need to explicitly dispose it. Now let's take a look at the implementation of the add method. So it's nothing new, you already know it. So in add course _click, I simply add a new course to context.courses and finally call save changes. As simple as that. Now because we have data binding in place, as you add this course object to the courses DB set, the data grid will be notified and immediately show your course. So this was the add scenario. Updating and deleting objects is exactly the same. I hope you enjoyed this lecture and thank you for watching.